We had a spreadsheet for everything. Customer acquisition cost, churn rate, lead velocity. We measured every metric that the business gurus told us to. But were we winning? Not even close. Here's a fun fact for you. In the last 5 years, the average cost of acquiring a customer has shot up 60%. Over the last 8, it's a staggering 222%. You can A/B test headlines. You can optimize landing pages. You can pour into ad campaigns. You can SEO optimize everything that you have. It's a hamster wheel of hacks and hustles burning out fast. The answer is not in the next marketing book. It's in a 2,000-year-old metaphor about a vineyard in John chapter number 15. Yeah, a simple 3-part framework inspired by an ancient idea, the vine and the branches. As we continue to build a faith-based business one room at a time, we've got to go into the garden. See, it just isn't a story. It's a blueprint for how we learn to bear fruit, how we embraced being pruned, and how a new cycle of reassessment turned our struggling project into a thriving business. And it has nothing to do with the algorithms and everything to do with life itself. The first part of the framework sounds deceptively simple. Bear fruit. In business, fruit just means results, right? Profit, growth, KPIs. But that's where we're going wrong. If you're obsessed about the fruit and if you completely ignore the plant, the fruit is not going to come to fruition. See, John 15 isn't about the results. It's about the how they are produced. See, it introduces us to 3 characters: the gardener, the vine, and the branches. Now we know ultimately God is the gardener, Jesus is the vine, and we are the branches, right? That's the core message. And the core message for us is that the branch cannot produce fruit on its own. It must stay connected to the vine. That's relationship. It's also rooted in our why, our purpose. Why has God called us? Why is Jesus directing us? And what are we supposed to do with it, right? So let's redefine fruit. It's no longer just about profit. Fruit becomes the tangible, positive impact our work has on our customers. Instead of asking, how can I make more money from this? You ask, how does this project connect to my core mission, my purpose, and produce real, lasting value for others? It's the principle of the abiding in the vine. It's the main strategy, right? So if a branch is not connected, it isn't producing good fruit. If I am not connected to my purpose, I'm not producing fruit. If the projects or the offers are not connected to my mission, it's not producing good fruit. It's a law of nature. And you know what? It's also just good business sense. After all, if anywhere from 5 to 25 times, well, let me say this, it's 5 to 25 times cheaper to keep a happy customer than to acquire a new one. Connection pays off. Just like a happy customer, your peace in abiding with Jesus, it pays off too. That's right. So we bear fruit. But number 2, we got to get pruned. And it's discomforting. It's the part that nobody likes and nobody wants to talk about. The principle that the business coaches tend to skip is the pruning. The metaphor is crystal clear. The gardener, and ultimately it's God, or you now in this case as you're gardening your business, you have to cut off every branch that bears no fruit. Okay, that seems simple. If the project is not producing, if the offer is not coming to fruition and nobody's buying it, you might need to let it go. But this is the critical part. If every branch that does bear fruit needs to be pruned so it can bear even more fruit. Whew. See, for years, we can see cutback as failure, as a sign of defeat. Pruning feels like punishment, or it can. But let's reframe it completely. Pruning is not rejection. It's the gardener's investment in a branch. It's a vote of confidence. It's the gardener saying, I believe that this branch can do even more. See, this realization hits hard, right? We can be holding on to everything. That offer that's draining your resources, you try to keep it. That marketing strategy that never quite delivers, you try to keep it. You can be tangled, overgrown, have an overgrown mess, if you would. And a few good branches are being choked out by the dozens of mediocre ones that you're trying to keep up. You know, the balls in the air, you're juggling everything. That's why in many instances they say, don't try to be on every single platform, but focus on one, master that one, and then you can move on to others, right? You're just unfocused. So embracing pruning can be excruciating. The first big prune sometimes can be that passion project. It can have a small dedicated following. It can bear some fruit, but it can actually end up being a sucker. It's a type of growth that pulls energy from the main plant. It can be a massive drain on your time, your focus, as well as your finances. And this is where the analytics helps. Look at your top sellers. Look at those that are not producing. And ask the question, is it a passion project that God is asking you to release? See, cutting it can be one of the hardest decisions to make, especially if you are so invested. But the results will be undeniable. The focus will free you up to channel your energy into your core offerings, and your revenue will end up doubling. Your team can be more energized, your vision can be more clear, and the fruit can suddenly be bigger and better than ever before. Learn that strategic subtraction is just as important as strategic addition. So what are you holding on to that needs to be pruned? The third principle ties it all together. Reassess to bear more fruit. See, a gardener's work is never done. It's a continuous cycle of observing, pruning, and evaluating. This is what will get you off that roller coaster, the ups and the downs, onto a pathway of healthy, sustainable growth. Create what we call an annual Vineyard audit. You're going to look at what you have in front of you. First, you observe the connection. Look at all the branches, all the products, your services, your internal processes, and ask, are they still deeply connected to the vine? Are they drawing life from the mission? Then second, you want to identify and prune. This is where you have to make those hard calls. Look for the fruitless branches and those energy draining suckers. It's not blame time, not at all. It's about the health of the whole organism. Third, measure the fruit. You don't throw out the spreadsheets. You now tell a different story. Instead of just chasing profit, look for the fruit that will last. Customer testimonials, team morale, and community impact. And yes, track the numbers. But now they serve a proof of a healthy system. See, a great lifetime value to customer acquisition cost, LTV to CAC, that ratio, if it's 3-to-1 or better, it isn't a goal anymore. It's the evidence that your connection is strong and your pruning is working. And finally, lift and repeat. The gardener is described as lifting up the fallen branches to get them more sun. This means identifying promising people and projects and giving them more resources, more support, more room to grow. Then the cycle begins all over again. This shift won't just save your business, it gives you your work meaning. You go from being burnt out by metrics to being energized by growth. That's right. So, what is the ancient garden secret? It's this. Stop acting like you're the gardener. You are the branch. Your only job is to stay connected to the vine. So for us, that meant anchoring our business to a core purpose that truly nourishes us. It meant having the courage to prune away the good things that were preventing us from being great. And it meant building a rhythm of reassessment to ensure we were always positioned to bear the most fruit possible. The more modern business, well, it tells you to be self-reliant. But the paradox of the vineyard is that true fruitfulness comes not from frantic independent effort, but from deep abiding dependence. It's about doing less, but with more connection. The holy hustle. We let that go. We have the royal shift. It's about what the Bible concludes with. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. And that is a legacy far more valuable than anything you can track on a spreadsheet. I'm Dr. Shantae Haynes, been called the Destiny Designer and the one-stop shop for faith-based coaches, authors, and speakers ready to 5x their income and their impact. I empower you to scale with systems, strategies, and spirit, that's capital S, Holy Spirit, so that you can have income as well as impact. All right. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share to this video so that more people will be able to get this information. But I want to make sure that you build your faith-based business one room at a time. You're interested in getting the book Crowned by Design, which is coming out, that's going to encompass all of this. Oh, check the description below, and I'll make sure I share that with you too. Have a fantastic rest of your day. God bless.